Chapter 1. It was a scorching summer day at the film city. Lin Yan was running to the filming location under the scorching sun. The big screen in front of her was playing the latest financial news. There's a commotion at the top management of a multinational corporation. The CEO Pei Yuqing is suspected to be critically ill. Lin Yan glanced at the screen and saw a photo of Pei Yuqing on the screen. It seemed to have been taken from the hospital. In the spacious and bright high-class ward, an exceptionally handsome man was lying on the bed. The man had a face that could bring disaster to a country. His exquisite features looked as though they had been sculpted by God. His eyes seemed to be shrouded by a thin layer of mist, which made him look cold and distant. How strange. She didn't know this man, yet she felt a sense of familiarity. Lin Yan shook her head. She couldn't even take care of herself. How could she care about someone else? Her mind had been a little fuzzy lately and she would blur from time to time. She could also hear a strange voice talking which was buzzing. She had been scolded by the director several times for being distracted. It was almost time for the audition, so Lin Yan rushed into the audition hall with her resume. "Hello, director. My name is Lin Yan." Lin Yan was interrupted by the director. "Hold on, Lin Yan." Lin Yan nodded. Yes. The name wasn't special, but the director's expression gave Lin Yan a bad premonition. "Miss Lin, I think you should try elsewhere." Lin Yan frowned. "The casting director asked me to come," he said. The director interrupted her. "I'm sorry, Miss Lin. We don't want to cause trouble. Please understand." Lin Yan refused to believe him. She went to several auditions and the old injury on her leg began to hurt. In the end, all of them rejected her without even watching her performance. Lin Yan was physically and mentally exhausted. She looked numb as she was knocked around by the bustling crowd. Why did the other party have to force her again and again even though she had already tolerated it so much? Lin Yan's hands trembled as she took out her phone and dialed a number. "Lin Xia, were you the one who asked all the production crews to reject my resume?" Lin Yan questioned the person on the other end of the line. A chuckle came from the other end of the line. "I was wondering who it was. Isn't this my proud and arrogant sister? What's wrong? Are a few minor characters worth getting so worked up over?" "Lin Xia, you don't have to be so sarcastic. I've already given you the position of the successor of the Lin family. I don't want Han Yishuan anymore. What else do you want?" "He, elder sister, are you mistaken? I am the legal heir of the Lin family. Brother Yishuan was also the one who took the initiative to confess his love to me. How is it that you gave way to him?" Lin Xia chuckled. "I'm sorry, big sister. Big brother Yishuan is celebrating my birthday today. He doesn't have time to waste on a jobless person like you." Lin Yan was about to retort when she heard a familiar voice. "Xia, who is it?" Lin Xia pouted. "Big brother Yishuan, it's big sister. She's still blaming me for not being able to celebrate my birthday with me." Chapter 2. At night at a luxurious hotel in the capital city, Lin Yan had been trying to find a job, so she had decided to apply for a job at the hotel. She had taken a wrong turn when she entered the hotel and had accidentally barged into a pool party. Lin Yan was a little startled when she saw the crowd. She hadn't expected that Lin Xia's birthday party would be held there. Ever since she had returned to the country, nothing had gone her way. Not too long ago, Han Yishuan had announced his relationship with Lin Xia. Half a year ago, Han Yishuan had publicly announced that he would stay single and that he would never abandon his fans to get married. Now that he had been slapped in the face, the people in the industry didn't mock him. Instead, they were envious of him. After all, Lin Xia was the only daughter of Triumph Entertainment. She was also the most popular celebrity. If he married her in the future, he would have a lot of resources. Of course, Lin Xia wouldn't be at a disadvantage. Han Yishuan's family had been in business for many years, so he was rich. At this moment, a group of young men and women dressed in luxurious clothes surrounded the pool where the party was being held. Lin Xia was dressed in an elegant Chinese cheongsam, while Han Yishuan was dressed in a white suit. He looked handsome and elegant. Han Yishuan's expression was gentle as he took out an expensive diamond necklace and helped Lin Xia put it on. Lin Yan's heart skipped a beat when she saw the necklace. The necklace that Han Yishuan had given Lin Xia was the one that she had liked but couldn't bear to buy. All the money that she had earned overseas had been spent on her sister and Han Yishuan. However, she had been frugal and hadn't been able to afford a necklace. At this time there was a bang sound. Then something even more unfortunate happened. Lin Yan had wanted to leave, but the waiter beside her had accidentally smashed a plate. All of a sudden, everyone turned to look in that direction. At the same time they saw Lin Yan, who looked out of place. Who is that woman? Why did she come here dressed like that? I have no idea. I don't think Shuya and Yishuan have friends like that. Lin Shuya was the first to recognize the shabby young lady standing beside the waiter. She couldn't help but raise her eyebrows. Lin Yan paled in the face of the guests' pointing fingers and Lin Shuya's mocking gazes. She wanted to rush forward and tell everyone that Lin Shuya was a shameless mistress who had stolen her boyfriend. She even wanted to slap Han Yishuan and call him a two-timing scumbag. However, she stood on the spot, trembling with anger, unable to move at all. She thought she could forgive. She thought she could forget. When she saw these two people with her own eyes, all the hatred in her heart surged. Why is she here? Han Yishuan asked Lin Shuya quizzically, feeling a little guilty. Lin Shuya gently held Han Yishuan's hand as she said, "Big sister, you must have thought things through and decided to celebrate my birthday with me, right?" Lin Shuya walked over gracefully in her high heels. Lin Shuya walked over to Lin Yan and grinned. "Dear sister, why are you here? Don't tell me, you're here to apply for a waitress position?" Lin Shuya. Lin Yan gritted her teeth. Who would have thought that a top racer who once had the world at his beck and call would end up like this? You took illegal drugs in the Grand Prix, got reported and ended up with nothing. Now you're really cheap. No one wants you as an extra, yet you're here to wash dishes? Do you think I don't know? You were the one who tampered with the water I drank before the competition. Lin Shuya, how have I treated you all these years? I worked so hard to earn money to send you to the best school and give you the best life. The clothes you wear, the villa you live in and the luxuries you use. Which of them didn't I buy for you? Is this how you repay me? Lin Yan's eyes turned bloodshot as she felt dizzy. Lin Shuya's expression changed slightly, but she quickly regained her composure. She whispered into his ear, you actually know about it. But so what? Who would believe you? You're really pitiful." She had taken advantage of her sister's weak personality. Besides, there was nothing she could do even if she knew about it. Lin Shuya gazed fearlessly at Lin Yan's pained expression. However, at that moment, there was a loud slap. Lin Shuya stared at Lin Yan in disbelief. Lin Yan, who had been so weak that she looked as though she could faint at any moment, had slapped her hard. Han Yishuan, who had been talking to his friend, had turned around when he heard the sound. Chapter 3. Han Yishuan knew that Lin Yan was gentle and aloof. They had known each other for 2 years, but Han Yishuan had never seen her hit anyone. Besides, she doted on her sister the most. Who would have thought that she would hit Lin Shuya so harshly? Han Yishuan was furious and heartbroken at the same time. He strode over and pulled Lin Shuya into his arms. He couldn't care less about his idol image as he bellowed at Lin Yan. "Lin Yan, are you crazy? How could you hit me?" Lin Yan raised her head coldly, forcing Han Yishuan to take a few steps back with Lin Shuya in his arms. She was too scary. This wasn't the same Lin Yan who had been manipulated by him for 2 years. She had been deceived by him for 2 years and had even helped him count his money. Her gaze was cold and sharp and her aura was intimidating. Even though Han Yishuan had no lack of experience in dealing with the upper echelons of society since he was young, he was still frightened by the look in her eyes. Lin Yan's cold gaze landed on Han Yishuan and Lin Shuya, and both of them shuddered in fear. Lin Yan's voice was still the same, but it was as though a powerful soul had been injected into it. "What's wrong? You can't take a slap? Didn't you kneel before me and say that you would be willing to be sliced into pieces as long as I gave Han Yishuan to you?" When the surrounding guests heard this, they instantly went silent like cicadas in the winter, and then they started whispering to each other. How could this happen? Lin Shuya hadn't expected Lin Yan, who had always been patient, to be so aggressive. He panicked instantly. She stared at Lin Yan fearfully, worried that the people around her would believe her. However, she composed herself quickly. "Where did you come from? How dare you spout nonsense here? Brother Yishuan and I are in love with each other. We are a good match." Lin Shuya paused and scanned Lin Yan's clothes. "Do you think anyone will believe you?" The guests burst into laughter when they heard Lin Shuya. Lin Yan chuckled nonchalantly. "You are in love with each other? Lin Yan's heart shuddered when she heard Lin Xia's words. Lin Xia's heart trembled even more when she remained silent. Just as Lin Xia was about to kick Lin Yan out, Lin Yan pointed to the pool and said, "Let's make a bet." Lin Xia felt an inexplicable sense of danger. She didn't want to talk to Lin Yan, who seemed to have transformed into a completely different person. Perhaps Lin Yan had been driven to a dead end by her and had gone mad. "Why would I bet with a madman?" Lin Yan replied expressionlessly, "Lin Xia and I don't know how to swim, but you do." She paused for a moment and a smile appeared in her eyes. That smile was terrifying. "Mr. Han, if Miss Lin Xia and I fell into the water together, who would you save?" Lin Xia stared at her as though she was looking at a fool. Of course Han Yishuan would save her. Was there a need to ask? Lin Yan, who had seen Lin Xia's expression, asked calmly, "How about it, Lin Xia? Do you want to bet?" Lin Xia sneered. "Is there a need to bet on something like this? I won't do such a thing with a crazy woman like you." Lin Yan's eyes glinted dangerously. "Are you afraid of losing?" Lin Xia didn't know why Lin Yan was acting so strangely tonight, but her desire to win had been aroused. "Are you kidding me? Why would I be afraid of losing? I'm the person Brother Yishuan loves the most. I've seen plenty of women like her. When they see a fine man like Han Yishuan, they'll stick to him like a fly to meat." Lin Yan glanced at the two women coldly. "Stick to Han Yishuan? Sorry, I just wanted to prove that Mr. Han isn't as good as Miss Lin Xia." Han Yishuan was about to retort when Lin Yan tried to sow discord between them when Lin Yan continued, "As for me, my taste isn't that bad." Chapter 5. Lin Yan's words caused an uproar. Faster thief. She was talking to Han Yishuan, the young master of the Han family. Who had given her the courage to say something like that? Lin Xia said defensively, "Even if Brother Yishuan doesn't like you, you can't say that about him. I don't care what you did to Brother Yishuan, but don't you think your words are ridiculous? How arrogant. How dare you look down on Brother Yishuan?" Before Lin Xia could finish her sentence, a loud gasp came from the entrance. Everyone instinctively turned to look in the direction of the gasp. In the next second, the guests who were watching suddenly opened their mouths wide in shock and subconsciously stood in 2 rows. Pei Nanshu. He was the most popular actor in the entertainment industry. He was handsome and capable and thousands of girls were crazy about him. Pei Nanshu was an eccentric person, so he seldom attended private gatherings. After all, given his background, he didn't have to give face to anyone. No one had expected to see Pei Nanshu at this birthday party, so they were thrilled. "My hubby is so handsome. Oh my god. Xia and Yishuan are so famous. They even managed to invite a big shot like Pei Nanshu. But it's no wonder that Xia and Yishuan are so popular now." Lin Xia was stunned as well. She adjusted her clothes quickly and tried to greet him. "Mr. Pei, I didn't expect to see you here." However, Pei Nanshu ignored Lin Xia and strode toward Lin Yan. The man stopped in front of Lin Yan and spoke gently. "Sorry, Miss Lin Yan. I made you wait." The moment Pei Nanshu finished speaking, everyone froze in shock. Wasn't Pei Nanshu here to attend the birthday party? Was he here to look for this country bumpkin? Lin Xia couldn't believe her eyes. Han Yishuan, who was standing beside her, frowned. Lin Yan's expression was calm and composed as she faced the actor. It was as though she was looking at an old friend. She said casually, "Let's go." Even Pei Nanshu couldn't hide his astonishment when he saw Lin Yan's attitude. However, the man didn't say anything. He led Lin Yan through the crowd and out the door. Lin Xia, who was standing behind them, was about to go crazy. How could Lin Yan know Pei Nanshu? No matter what, she had lost all her face today. As for Han Yishuan, he was suffering unspeakably. He had no idea how Lin Yan had gotten to know Pei Nanshu, nor did he know how Lin Yan had suddenly gained the ability to threaten him with his father's company. All he knew was that if he hadn't jumped to save Lin Yan, the Han family would have been in deep trouble. "Xia? Xia, listen to me." Unfortunately, Han Yishuan had already lost all his face. There was no point in saying anything else. Outside the hotel, Lin Yan followed Pei Nanshu for a few steps when a gust of cold wind blew. She shuddered and woke up abruptly. A second ago she was still watching Han Yishuan and Lin Xia being lovey-dovey. In the blink of an eye, she was out of the Han family's residence. And this person in front of him? Lin Yan suddenly covered her mouth. Good heavens! Pei Nanshu. Her idol Pei Nanshu? The best actor Pei Nanshu that she admired the most? Why was she following Pei Nanshu? And why was she wearing Pei Nanshu's suit? Lin Yan was dumbfounded. After some time she stammered, Mr. Pei? Why are you here? My clothes are. Pei Nanshu glanced at the girl with a complicated expression. He was about to speak when his phone rang. Pei Nanshu seemed to have heard something but his face fell. What? My brother is awake? All right. I'll go back now. Mr. Pei. Before Lin Yan could say anything, Pei Nanshu had already sped off in his car. Lin Yan was speechless. What had happened? It was only then that Lin Yan realized that she was drenched in sweat. Could it be? Could it be that she had accidentally fallen into the water and Pei Nanshu had saved her? The more Lin Yan thought about it, the more she felt that it was possible. However, why couldn't she remember anything at all? Ever since she had returned to the country, nothing good had happened. She had finally gotten a chance to interact with her idol, but she had no recollection of it at all. Chapter 6. At a private hospital in the capital city, Pei Nanshu rushed to the VIP ward on the top floor. A group of senior executives had gathered outside the ward, and all of them were peering anxiously into the ward. When they saw Pei Nanshu, they made way for him and greeted him respectfully. Second young master. Pei Nanshu couldn't be bothered with them as he entered the ward. With a creak, the door opened. The snow-white ward looked cold and deserted. There was a bouquet of white roses by the bedside, and a few petals were scattered on the edge of the bed. On the hospital bed, a man was sitting there flipping through a document in his hand. The man's face was unusually handsome, but his expression was cold. The simple glasses on his face exuded an aura of abstinence, and his eyes behind the glasses were deep and dangerous like the deep sea. He was sitting quietly on the bed, but his entire body exuded an oppressive aura. It was as though the air in the ward had thinned. He placed the document aside and rested his head on his hand as though he was deep in thought. His eyes were dark and gloomy. Big brother. Pei Nanshu looked agitated when he saw that the man had woken up. The coldness in the man's eyes dissipated when he glanced at Pei Nanshu. How has the company been? It hasn't been good, but I've stopped all my work. I've been staying at the company for the past few days, so there hasn't been any trouble. Pei Yuqing replied, Thank you for your hard work. Pei Nanshu's eyes reddened. It's good that you're awake. We weren't prepared for your sudden coma. The most troublesome thing is that the doctors couldn't figure out why you were unconscious. I've looked for all the experts but they couldn't do anything about it. Pei Yuqing's eyes were as calm as the surging waves of the sea. Did anything special happen while I was unconscious? Pei Nanshu was startled when he heard this. Suddenly he recalled something. Oh yeah, big brother. There's something strange that I wanted to tell you. Your account was hacked and it sent me a strange email. However, I couldn't find any traces of it being hacked. It was as though you used your password to log in. Pei Yuqing's eyes flickered. A strange email? Pei Nanshu nodded. The email was, Pei Yuqing replied, it asked you to help a girl called Lin Yan. Before Pei Nanshu could respond, Pei Yuqing finished his sentence. Pei Nanshu was taken aback. Big brother, how did you know? Since this matter was too illogical, I wanted to find out who was behind this and what their goal was, so I followed the instructions in the email and helped the girl. Originally, I wanted to test the girl, but I received a call saying that you had woken up, so I had no choice but to rush back. Was the email really sent by you? But weren't you in a coma, and just woke up? Pei Yuqing's eyes had gradually calmed down, as though he had finally understood something. He replied casually, I woke up halfway. Pei Nanshu had always trusted Pei Yuqing unconditionally, so he had never doubted his words. However, he was a little puzzled. Brother, do you know this girl? Why are you suddenly asking me to help her? What's the relationship between you and this girl? Pei Nanshu, who was usually calm, was curious. After all, his brother had never had a woman by his side. He had never even heard of this girl. Pei Yuqing pondered this question for a moment, as though he was deliberating over his words. Then he said, the most intimate relationship in the world. Chapter 7. Pei Nanshu hadn't expected Pei Yuqing to answer that way. Most intimate relationship? When he was completely unaware, Big Brother had suddenly developed a relationship with a woman to this stage. Pei Nanshu couldn't help but ask, Big Brother, when did this happen? I've never heard you mention it before. Pei Yuqing replied, I just found out about it. Pei Nanshu was speechless. Why couldn't he understand a single word that Big Brother had said? What did he mean by just found out about it? Pei Nanshu hesitated before he said, Big Brother, do you know this girl's identity and background? Do you need me to investigate further? Pei Yuqing picked up a white petal that had fallen beside his hand and replied calmly, It's fine. No one in this world knew Lin Yan better than he did. Nanshu, prepare a car for me. I want to go somewhere. Pei Nanshu looked surprised. Big Brother, you just woke up. Where are you going? Pei Yuqing replied, I'm going to find out something. At a luxurious apartment in the capital city. After Lin Yan left the hotel, she took a bus back to her aunt's place. When she reached home, she took a shower and changed her clothes. After taking a hot shower, Lin Yan felt energized and in a better mood. She didn't know why, but she had a strange feeling. It was as though she had vented some of her frustrations. The knot in her heart had dissipated. She had been upset because of Lin Shuya and Han Yishuan's display of affection. She had even fallen into the water. Why was she in a good mood now? She had been a little out of sorts lately. No matter what, it was good to be in a good mood. Lin Yan perked up and decided to check on the latest recruitment announcements. No matter how powerful Lin Shuya and Han Yishuan were in the entertainment industry, they couldn't do whatever they wanted. There would always be places they couldn't reach. She had to climb up from where she had fallen. She would never be able to go back to that competition. She didn't want to be chased out of the entertainment industry with her tail between her legs. Someone knocked on the door as she searched for information. Lin Yan got up to open the door. Aunt. Her aunt poked her head into her room and looked a little unhappy. Why are you using the computer again? Don't you know that electricity is very expensive nowadays? He snapped at Lin Yan. Xiaoyan, it's almost the end of the month. When are you going to pay the rent? Shanshan's university is a place where she has to spend a lot of money, and she still has to support a big idler like you. How can we live like this? Lin Yan frowned. I'm sorry, Auntie. Can you postpone it for 2 more days? You know that my salary isn't as high as before. Wang Qiaohui suddenly raised her voice. But you can't just stay in our house and let us raise you. I've never seen someone as shameless as you. What did your mother teach you? Lin Yan's face hardened. Auntie, don't forget that my mother bought this house for Uncle. I was the one who gave my mother the money to help Uncle. As if her tail had been stepped on, Wang Qiaohui excitedly put her hands on her waist. Lin Yan. What do you mean by that? Your mother was the one who gave us this house. Since she gave it to us, it naturally belongs to us. I don't care who paid for it. Your uncle has only been dead for a short period of time. How dare you bully us? You even snatched this house from us. How can you be so vicious? Listen to me clearly, if you can't pay the rent, then you'll have to pack up and get out of here next month. Chapter 8. Lin Yan left the house amidst her aunt's curses. Every time she tried to stand up, life would deal her a fatal blow. Her bad luck would follow her for the rest of her life. Lin Yan had no choice but to call her only friend in the country, Wang Jingyang. Hello, Lin Yan. What a rare visitor. Why are you looking for me? Can I stay at your place for a few days next month? Wang Jingyang's voice faltered slightly. What's wrong? Aren't you staying at your aunt's place? I can't afford the rent this month. Lin Yan smiled bitterly. What? Didn't you pay for your aunt's house? Yeah. Lin Yan replied helplessly. Wang Jingyang stomped his feet in frustration. Faster, thief. What a heartless old woman. Lin Yan, how blind can you be? Look at the bunch of ingrates around you. Lin Yan grinned. Why would I? I still have you, right? Wang Jingyang, who was taken aback, snorted softly. He sounded much more cheerful now. It's good that you know. I'm near the university. Come and look for me. I'll treat you to a barbecue. Lin Yan replied, okay. Lin Yan's eyes warmed as she stared at the phone. It was a summer night at the entrance of the university. It was the busiest time for the barbecue stall. Lin Yan spotted Wang Jingyang, who was wearing black earrings and had dyed his hair dark purple, drinking beer. He did whatever he wanted just because he was good-looking. If someone else had dyed their hair that color, they would have been scared to death. However, he managed to control it. The young man had handsome features, and there was a hint of arrogance and defiance in his eyes. He was tall and slender, and he was dressed casually in a black t-shirt and ripped jeans. He looked like an advertisement model, as though he had stepped out of a girl's manga. He didn't pale in comparison to the popular young hunks in the industry. There were many female students at the barbecue stall, and the girls at the neighboring tables were secretly taking pictures of him. Wang Jingyang's eyes lit up when he noticed her. He waved the bottle of beer in his hand. "Lin Yan, over here." Lin Yan waved her hand and strode over to Wang Jingyang. Then she sat down opposite him. Lin Yan was wearing a white dress today, and her long black hair rested obediently on her shoulders. Her knees were close together as she sat upright. The corners of Wang Jingyang's mouth twitched as he scanned Lin Yan from head to toe. "Can you not dress like this? When Lin Xia dresses like this, you look like I kidnapped you from the mountains." Lin Yan was speechless. What kind of analogy was that? Well, she really didn't know how to dress. Back when he was a racer, he didn't have to dress up. He wore a black shirt and pants all day and didn't even need to change his clothes. Usually, when she was in front of Han Yishuan, she would dress according to his favorite style. When she was an artist, she would dress however her manager told her to. As for herself, she didn't have any requirements. She could even wear a black plastic bag. Lin Yan was about to speak when an inexplicable feeling engulfed her. Instinctively, she glanced at her surroundings. Her eyes scanned the area slowly before landing on the shade of a tree across the road. A black car was parked there quietly. Chapter 9. Lin Yan. "Lin Yan, what are you looking at?" Lin Yan snapped out of her daze when Wang Jingyang called her name. "What? Are you all right?" "I'm fine. I was in a daze." "What did you say?" Meanwhile, in the black car under the shade of the tree, in the back seat, a faint smile appeared in the man's eyes as he muttered softly, "Did you notice?" Pei Nanshu frowned worriedly. "Big brother, you just woke up. Are you sure you're all right?" After Pei Yuqing had woken up, the doctor had given him a full body checkup. Everything was fine, but he had to stay in the hospital for a few more days. However, the first thing Pei Yuqing had done after waking up was to look for Lin Yan. Pei Nanshu followed Pei Yuqing's gaze, but he couldn't figure out what was so special about this girl. Why did Pei Yuqing care so much about her? Pei Yuqing didn't speak. His cold eyes trailed to Wang Jingyang, who was sitting opposite Lin Yan. The smile in his eyes faded a little. At the barbecue stall, the owner served the beer and barbecue skewers. The wrench wasn't easy to use, so Wang Jingyang tried several times to no avail. Lin Yan glanced at him and took the beer from his hand. Then she bit the cap off with her teeth and passed it back to Wang Jingyang. Wang Jingyang silently watched her smooth movements. After a long while, Wang Jingyang said helplessly, "Do you know what you're doing? You're trying to imitate a tiger but end up like a dog instead. You're just trying to make a fool of yourself." Lin Xia is a true genius. She's proficient in all 4 arts. Her aura comes from within. You can't fake it. Han Yishuan isn't blind. How can a fake be compared to the real deal? You can't even pretend. Lin Yan didn't respond. She bit open the second cap and gulped down the beer. Wang Jingyang pressed on. "Lin Yan, you can't blame your sister and that jerk for what happened today. You were the one who spoiled them. Back then you were admitted to the capital university with the best results in the province. But in order to support your sister, you gave up your studies and went out to work to earn money. Without hesitation you sold yourself to a motorcade and used the money you earned to send her to the best school. You even sent her to learn piano, painting, dancing and flower arranging. What will happen if you shine like this? Not only did she suck your blood dry, she even wanted to steal your man. Wake up and stop being so stubborn. You treat Lin Xia as your dearest family, but she only treats you as an ATM machine and a fool." Lin Yan gazed at the night sky with a sad expression on her face. She grinned and interrupted him. "Doggy, if you say another word, I will break your legs." Wang Jingyang instantly fell silent, mumbling as he curled up and ate the skewers in silence. "That's enough, doggy. You don't have to say anymore. I've already sobered up. From now on I have nothing to do with Lin Xia." Chapter 10. After their parents had divorced, she had doted on her sister the most. She had given her the best and protected her like a princess in an ivory tower. She, on the other hand, had given up on her studies and future to struggle at the bottom of society. All she had now was a crippled leg and a numb heart. Wang Jingyang was right. Lin Xuya's temperament had been nurtured by her over a decade and a lot of money. She couldn't achieve these things in a short period of time. She was destined to be inferior to Lin Xuya in this lifetime. Lin Yan could hold her liquor well. She had almost finished the entire box of beer before she felt tipsy. Your sister isn't a good person and Han Yishuan is a scumbag. Lin Yan, listen to me. Don't be captivated by beauty in the future. In nature, the more beautiful something is, the more poisonous it is. This is the law. Lin Yan propped her head on her hand and chuckled. So you're saying that you're poisonous too? You're pretty too. Wang Jingyang's body stiffened as his cheeks slowly turned red. Lin Yan felt as though she was drunk. Her consciousness was getting blurry, and Wang Jingyang's voice was getting further and further away. It was summer, yet Lin Yan felt chilly all of a sudden. It felt as though a cold, bone-chilling ice had drilled into her body. However, this feeling was fleeting. Soon, the ice seemed to melt into a warm stream that melted into her body. I'm different. What kind of relationship do we have? Why would I harm you? Lin Yan, I think you shouldn't go back to your aunt's place. Tonight, you can stay at my place. Anyway, I have an empty room. Wang Jingyang stuttered as he suggested. Wang Jingyang waited for a long time, but Lin Yan didn't respond. When he turned around, he saw that Lin Yan had fallen asleep on the table. Wang Jingyang stared at the heartless girl in front of him and muttered under his breath, "You're always so silly. Forget it, I don't have the right to criticize you. I'm even more foolish than you to fall in love with a fool." The girl lay quietly on the table under the lights of the night market. She looked like an angel when she was quiet, and the fluffy hair on her fair, delicate face could be seen clearly. Wang Jingyang stared blankly, his ears burning, his heart beating faster and faster, and even his breathing became rapid. Wang Jingyang clenched his fists and inched closer to the girl's face. Soon, the distance between the two of them was so close that they could only hear each other's breath. Wang Jingyang's lips were about to land on Lin Yan's face. Lin Yan opened her eyes abruptly, and the cold glint in her eyes was as sharp as an ice blade. Courting death? Holy shit. Wang Jingyang was scared out of his wits. He rolled off the stool and fell flat on his face. At the same time, in the opposite car. Chapter 11. Wang Jingyang, who hadn't expected Lin Yan to wake up so suddenly, fell to the ground in shock. He struggled to get up after some time. F***ck. Lin Yan, what are you doing? I almost had a heart attack. The girl seemed to be startled for a moment, but she quickly recovered and a look of understanding appeared in her eyes. The girl's originally gloomy and depressed eyes were like pearls that had been wiped clean in an instant. Hearing this, she glanced at Wang Jingyang and said calmly, "If you didn't do something shameful, what are you afraid of?" Wang Jingyang felt really guilty as he tried to explain himself. "I saw something on your face, so I wanted to help you remove it. What else did you think I wanted to do?" "Really?" Lin Yan smiled faintly and didn't deny it. However, her expression made Wang Jingyang panic as though she had seen through him. He even felt as though he was facing a powerful enemy. F***ck. What was going on? Wang Jingyang couldn't help but complain, "Lin Yan, are you possessed? Why do you feel so cold all of a sudden?" The look in her eyes when she had opened them had scared him to death. Wang Jingyang muttered to himself as he tried to change the topic. "Lin Yan, did you hear what I said? Why don't you stay at my place instead? You don't have to suffer at your aunt's place." Lin Yan glanced at him. "It's fine." Wang Jingyang thought that she didn't want to trouble him, so he tried to persuade her. "Why are you being so polite with me? My room over there is empty anyway." Lin Yan picked up a skewer from the table. However, she didn't seem to have any intention of eating it. She merely glanced at it and replied casually, "I have a place to go." Wang Jingyang looked helpless. "If you really feel bad about it, you can pay me the rent after you earn some money. Don't force yourself. You don't have any friends or family in the capital city. Where else can you go?" Lin Yan replied, "My boyfriend's place." Wang Jingyang was speechless. Wang Jingyang, who was rooted to the ground, dropped the skewer in his hand. What did you say?" Wang Jingyang felt as though he had been hit in the head. Boyfriend? When had she gotten a boyfriend? Lin Yan hadn't gotten over her breakup with Han Yishuan. How could she suddenly have a boyfriend? How could he not know? Thank you for your hospitality. Lin Yan stood up and left, her cold and distant voice disappearing in the night breeze. Wang Jingyang was left in a daze as he stared at Lin Yan's back. His heart was broken. Having a boyfriend was indeed different. Even the way she spoke to him was cold. At the same time, Pei Yuqing had fallen into a deep slumber again. Pei Nanxu was flustered. Just as he was about to drive the patient to the hospital, someone knocked on the car window. Pei Nanxu rolled down the window and saw Lin Yan standing outside. Lin Yan. The girl opened the car door and sat down beside him. There's no need to go to the hospital. Let's go back to Cloud Manor. Pei Nanxu looked wary. Who are you? What's your relationship with my brother? Strange. This wasn't the first time he had noticed it. The way this woman spoke actually made him involuntarily obey. The girl remained calm and composed as she asked, "Didn't your brother tell you about our relationship?" Pei Nanxu fell silent. Although he had no idea why, it made his elder brother say something like the most intimate relationship. This woman was definitely extraordinary. At least to his brother she should be trustworthy. Chapter 12. The next morning, at the mansion in the middle of the mountain in the capital city, Lin Yan rubbed her eyes in a daze as she crawled out of the soft blanket in her bright, spacious bedroom. A second later, Lin Yan woke up in shock when she saw where she was. The spacious space, the luxurious decor, the swimming pool outside the window, and King lying on the bed. The king-sized bed, the furniture in the room that seemed low-key but was so expensive that it made one's heart tremble, the murals. This wasn't her aunt's apartment, let alone Wang Jingyang's. Damn it. Why was she blacking out again? Hadn't she been eating with Wang Jingyang last night? Where was this place? The beer last night couldn't have made her forget everything. This wasn't the first time she had lost her memory. Last night when she had seen Pei Nanxu at the entrance of the hotel. At the time she had thought that she had been too tired. However, what had happened this morning had been too unbelievable. A second ago she had been eating with Wang Jingyang. The moment she opened her eyes, she was lying on an unfamiliar bed. Lin Yan tried hard to recall but she couldn't remember anything. At this moment her phone suddenly rang. Lin Yan tapped on it and realized that Wang Jingyang had sent her countless messages last night. Dog, F***C. Lin Yan. You heartless person. How could you not tell me about such a huge matter? When did you get a boyfriend? Dog, who is your boyfriend? Dog, how old is he? Dog, what does he do? Dog, what does his family do? Dog, is he handsome? Lin Yan was speechless. What was wrong with Wang Jingyang? What boyfriend? What closest person? Suddenly Lin Yan saw a video in Wang Jingyang's message. Dog, Lin Yan, damn you. Are we still friends? How many things are you hiding from me? Attached is a video. Lin Yan clicked on the video suspiciously. The video seemed to have been taken secretly. It looked shaky but it was still clear. However, why did the scene in the video seem so familiar? Wasn't this at Lin Xia's birthday party that day? Soon she saw her own figure. When Lin Yan finished watching the video she stood rooted to the ground in shock. The video recorded everything that had happened at the birthday party last night. It showed how she had appeared, how she had made the bet with Lin Xia, how Hanixuan had jumped down to save her, and Pei Nanxu. That night Lin Yan had assumed that she had fallen into the water because she was too tired and Pei Nanxu had helped her. Never would he have thought that so many things would happen in this period of time. When he woke up the world was turned upside down. Lying on the bed of a luxurious villa, the ex-boyfriend left his girlfriend to risk his life to save her. She was like an old friend of the entertainment industry's top celebrity. She wouldn't even dare to do that in her dreams. Was there anything more unbelievable than this in this world? In the next second, the door of the opposite bathroom was suddenly pushed open with a creak. A man who was even more mesmerizing than Pei Nanxu walked out of the bathroom. If she wasn't mistaken, she had seen this man on television not long ago. He was the head of the Pei family and the president of JM Corporation. Pei Yuqing. Lin Yan was speechless. Chapter 13. The man's upper body was naked, and there was only a towel wrapped around his waist. Transparent water droplets trailed down his wet hair and landed on his chest. Seeing the girl sitting on the edge of the bed, the man looked at her with his deep, cold eyes. You're awake. Lin Yan stared blankly at the man who had just walked out of the bathroom. In an instant she felt as though 100 mammoths had stomped on her head. Pei Yuqing? The image she had seen on the television had left a deep impression on her. There was no way she could have mistaken him for someone else. She tried hard to recall what had happened last night, but she couldn't remember anything. Slap. Lin Yan raised her hand and slapped herself. Lin Yan, wake up. You must be dreaming. You must be dreaming. Pei Yuqing, who had been drying his hair, watched as Lin Yan slapped herself. His expression was conflicted. To prevent Lin Yan from hurting herself, the man reminded her, perhaps you need to calm down. Lin Yan nodded stiffly. Yes. That's right. I need to calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Lin Yan muttered to herself as she tried to calm herself down. In the end, she bit her lip and glanced at Pei Yuqing, looking as though she had broken down. President Pei, can you put on some clothes first? It's hard for me to calm down like this. The man's eyes seemed to flash with a smile. After some time he finally changed into a set of home clothes and a pair of glasses. The man sat on the sofa by the window. The mottled sunlight shone through the shadows of the trees and landed on his cold and distant eyes. The sleeves of his white shirt were rolled up a few times, and his slender legs were casually crossed. The simple glasses on the bridge of his nose did not weaken his aura. Instead, it made him look like he was going to explode. Lin Yan was speechless. Lin Yan felt that she wouldn't be able to calm down today. People in the entertainment industry had always said that Pei Nanshu's looks could kill. However, the man in front of her was enough to captivate her soul. Pei Yuqing, who could tell that she had something to say, lit a cigarette, and the faint smoke curled around his slender fingers. What do you want to say? Lin Yan finally snapped back to her senses. Her heart was pounding as she asked cautiously, I'm sorry, President Pei. I must have had too much to drink last night. I don't remember anything, so I want to know what happened. Why did I wake up in your house this morning? I don't remember. Pei Yuqing's thin lips curled up into a smile. His eyes glinted. Then with that deep, husky and magnetic voice he said, What? You don't want to admit that you slept with me? Are you pretending to have amnesia? Lin Yan was speechless. Chapter 14. She had slept with Pei Yuqing? Had she eaten the guts of a leopard? Lin Yan scrambled to her feet and explained frantically, How could that be possible? Mr. Pei, I think there must be some misunderstanding between us. I wouldn't dare disrespect you even if I had the guts. Pei Yuqing's slender fingers held onto the half-burnt cigarette as he raised his lazy eyes and glanced at her. I've already been disrespectful. Lin Yan was speechless. He had already been disrespectful. Someone could save her. Pei Yuqing glanced at Lin Yan coldly. What else do you want to say? Lin Yan struggled. Yes. Mr. Pei, I have a very important question. Since you said that I've been disrespectful, then how did I succeed? If she had the ability to sleep with Pei Yuqing, why didn't she go to heaven? Pei Yuqing's slender fingers held onto the cigarette as he rested his other hand on his forehead. He raised his eyebrows slightly. Do you want me to help you recall? Ahem. Lin Yan's face turned pale in fright. No. There's no need. I didn't mean that. Lin Yan was forced to give up on this question. What should she do? Lin Yan was burning with anxiety as she asked cautiously, Mr. Pei, if I told you that I really don't remember anything, would you believe me? Pei Yuqing's eyes lit up when he saw how frightened the girl was. Of course I would believe you. He finally believed him. Lin Yan's eyes lit up and she looked excited. Pei Yuqing added, after all, if a woman wants to abandon him, what kind of ridiculous reason can't she come up with? Lin Yan was speechless. If really? No. Yes. She had abandoned Pei Yuqing after seducing him. It was too scary. Had she really forgotten something? Suddenly Lin Yan's mind lit up. She seemed to know what was going on. She knew why she had done so many things that she had no recollection of. She had caused a scene at Lin Shia's wedding. She had known Pei Nanshu, and she had an affair with Pei Yuqing. It was all because of her. She had a split personality. If that was the case, everything could be explained. Is there something wrong with me? Am I suffering from a split personality disorder? Lin Yan muttered to herself in a panic. The corners of Pei Yuqing's mouth twitched when he heard the girl's mutterings. Lin Yan's head throbbed at the thought of this. If she told Pei Yuqing that she had a split personality and that she had slept with another personality, would he let her off? Lin Yan mulled it over and realized that it wasn't possible. Even if they split up, wasn't it all because of her? If the truth was really like this, then wouldn't she suffer too much of a loss? Chapter 15. She hadn't done it, but she couldn't refute him. Lin Yan was at a loss for words. She felt so aggrieved that she felt like a mushroom that had been ravaged by a storm. Pei Yuqing watched the girl, who looked as though she wanted to say something but couldn't. He felt inexplicably delighted. Have you thought of a more reasonable excuse? Lin Yan pursed her lips aggrievedly. How could there be a reasonable excuse for something so ridiculous? Even dramas wouldn't dare to make up such a story. She really couldn't think of any other reason besides IQ. Lin Yan looked as though she was waiting for death. She muttered, no. No more. She was definitely going to be the scapegoat that fell from the sky. Pei Yuqing pinched the cigarette in his hand. Come here. Lin Yan jerked her head up, her eyes widening in alarm. Pei Yuqing's eyes turned cold when he saw that the girl wasn't moving. His aura poured out slowly. Lin Yan felt a chill crawl up her spine. She swallowed her saliva and walked slowly in Pei Yuqing's direction. After a long time, she finally walked 3 steps away from Pei Yuqing. The man seemed to think that she was moving too slowly. He extended his arm and placed her beside the man's legs. A faint smell of tobacco mixed with the scent of the forest enveloped her instantly. Lin Yan didn't even dare breathe loudly. She could only stare at the man in front of her in fear. At that moment, the girl looked terrified and obedient. She looked like a rabbit that had strayed into a wolf's den. At this close distance, he could clearly see that even though her body and mind were in a terrible state, her skin was still so smooth and tender that one couldn't even see her pores. Perhaps because her skin was too delicate, the part of her face that she had slapped had turned red and swollen. Pei Yuqing stretched out his slender fingers and gently touched the girl's swollen red area. Lin Yan instinctively shrank her neck in pain. Pei Yuqing stretched his hand past Lin Yan and opened the drawer behind her. Then he took something out. It was as though he was pulling her into his embrace. Lin Yan held her breath the entire time, not daring to move. How could she resist and hit him? She was the one who had done wrong. Just as Lin Yan was wondering if he was going to hit her with a stick, the man's fingers carried a touch of coolness as he gently wiped the swollen area on her cheek. The sore spot on her face instantly cooled down. It was very comfortable and she could even smell the fragrance of medicine. Lin Yan was taken aback. Was Pei Yuqing applying medicine on her? Just as she was thinking about this, the man had already applied the ointment for her. Pei Yuqing rested his arms on either side of her body and gazed at her coldly. Miss Lin, please take good care of yourself. I don't wish to see you get hurt again. She hadn't expected that he would be concerned about her. She blinked in astonishment and nodded unconsciously. Chapter 16. What exactly was the relationship between her second personality and Pei Yuqing? Could it be that he had done some other strange things without her knowing? The feeling of not being able to figure out the situation was too tragic. She could fall into a pit at any time. Lin Yan didn't even dare to utter a word. At this moment, someone knocked on the door. Pei Yuqing replied, "Come in." Lin Yan seized the opportunity to jump away. Instinctively, she turned to look in the direction of the footsteps. A second later, she froze on the spot. Pei Nanshu. The best actor, Pei Nanshu. Her idol. Her idol. Brother. Pei Nanshu called out to Pei Yuqing as he pushed the door open. At that moment, Pei Nanshu was dressed casually in home clothes. There was a gentle smile on his handsome face and he looked like he was glowing. Lin Yan felt as though all the light in the world was focused on this man. This was the first time she had seen Pei Nanshu in casual clothes. It was also the first time she had seen Pei Nanshu in such a friendly manner. Although Pei Nanshu had always appeared gentle and kind to others, Lin Yan could sense that his gentleness was accompanied by a sense of distance. It was as though he was aloof and unreachable. To fans like them, he was like a god on an altar. However, when Pei Nanshu had pushed the door open, she had felt as though she had seen a male idol who had descended from the altar to the mortal world. Miss Lin. Pei Nanshu seemed to have noticed her as he nodded at her in greeting. However, the moment Pei Nanshu's eyes shifted away from Pei Yuqing, the friendliness in his eyes transformed into the kind of politeness and distance that she was familiar with. However, this was enough to make Lin Yan feel overwhelmed by the favor. After all, this was the first time she had spoken to Pei Nanshu at such a close distance. She had no recollection of it at all. Lin Yan was stunned for a long time before she stammered, "Mr. Pei? Hi. Hello." Her eyes couldn't help but wander to Pei Nanshu. It was hard for her to control the emotions of a little fan who had just met her idol. However, soon Lin Yan had a bad premonition. The man beside her had a cold glint in his eyes behind his glasses. His slender fingers were slightly bent as he gently tapped on the armrest of the sofa. Suddenly, he asked her in that cold and indifferent voice, "Does it look good?" Lin Yan felt a chill run down her spine to the top of her head. Nice? He felt that it would be very dangerous if he said that, saying that it's not pretty? How could she say that her idol wasn't good-looking? Without a doubt, this was a suicidal question. At that moment, Lin Yan's brain worked furiously as she inhaled deeply. "It's beautiful." Pei Nanshu narrowed his eyes. Lin Yan hastily replied, "Of course Mr. Pei is good-looking. After all, he is your brother. How could it not look good?" The intimidating aura between Pei Yuqing's brows seemed to relax instantly, and his lips curled into a smile. "You have a strong desire to live." Chapter 17. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 18. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 19. Professor Yi, I don't think it's right. I definitely have a split personality. Why don't you take a look at me? Lin Yan eyed Hirue Yuan intently. "Miss Lin, you're too nervous. You have to respect science and trust doctors." Hirue Yuan frowned. "Professor He, it's not that I don't believe in science and doctors. I just don't believe in myself," replied Lin Yan. "Miss Lin, since you know about the classic cases of split personalities, you should know my authority. If I say that you don't have a split personality, then you don't." Hirue Yuan grinned. "I still think." Lin Yan hesitated. "Miss Lin, why don't you take a look at another doctor?" Hirue Yuan pinched his temples. "Another doctor? Is there anyone better than you?" asked Lin Yan hastily. The old man smiled humbly. "I'm afraid not." Lin Yan was speechless. "Sorry for interrupting." In the end, Lin Yan had no choice but to leave. Since Hirue Yuan, an expert in the field of mental health, said that she was fine, then she should be fine. Could she be possessed by a ghost? After Lin Yan left, the old man picked up his phone and made a call. "Mr. Pei, I've completed your task." Yes, Miss Lin didn't suspect anything. Lin Yan felt more at ease after the checkup at the hospital. Then she finally recalled the person she had forgotten. "Hey doggy." The call was picked up almost instantly. Wang Jingyang's agitated voice was heard. F***ck. "Lin Yan, you're such a heartless B***t. You finally called me." Lin Yan chuckled helplessly. "Did I say something strange to you last night?" Wang Jingyang quipped. "It's more than strange. It was terrifying. I asked you if you wanted to stay at my place last night, but you said that you had somewhere to go. You even said that you wanted to go to your boyfriend's place. So, when did you get a boyfriend?" Lin Yan was startled. She hadn't expected him to say something like that last night. "Did I?" Wang Jingyang replied. "Of course you did. You said it yourself last night." Lin Yan replied helplessly. "My memory has been deteriorating recently. Besides, I drank a little last night. How could you believe that I spouted nonsense?" Wang Jingyang was stunned. F***ck. "Lin Yan, damn you. You kept me up all night, and now you're telling me that you're talking nonsense?" Lin Yan was speechless. "You stayed up all night because of this? Do you have to do this?" Wang Jingyang coughed slightly guiltily. "I'm just curious." Wang Jingyang still seemed a little worried. "Are you awake now? Do you really not have a boyfriend?" Lin Yan replied, "I didn't. Right now, my heart is empty except for making money." Wang Jingyang. He believed her words. Lin Yan replied, I have to go look for a job. If I can't pay the rent next month, I will come to you. After hanging up, Lin Yan inhaled deeply and cleared her mind of all the messy thoughts. Although after seeing the doctor she still had some doubts that hadn't been resolved, all of this was no longer important in a situation where basic food and clothing could not be satisfied. Her top priority now was to make money. Chapter 20. Currently typing, please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 21. Lin Yan finally received a reply from one of the production crews. She rushed to the audition venue the next morning. She was going to audition for a melodramatic drama. However, she was already doing well enough to have a role. She had no right to pick a script yet. Number 33. When she heard her name being called, she inhaled deeply and strode into the audition room. Lin Yan's performance ended after some time. The director shook his head. I'm sorry, Miss Lin. Your acting skills aren't good enough. I hope that we can work together again. Acting was a skill that required years of experience. It wasn't something that could be mastered in a short period of time. However, Lin Yan was a fast learner and she had a good grasp of things. She would have no problem dealing with small roles now. However, it was a pity that the director had high expectations for her acting. He had disliked her for being too conventional. Lin Yan had no choice but to leave. Lin Yan passed by another production crew which was crowded with people. The name of the production crew was Meeting One's Match. Wasn't that the production crew that Qin Shanshan was going to audition for? Instinctively, Lin Yan halted in her tracks and peered through the crowd. At the same time, the production crew of Meeting One's Match was in chaos. The producer Feng Anhua and the director Jiang Yiming had called all the crew members for a meeting and instructed them not to make any mistakes during the audition. Inside a cubicle in the hall, there was a camera in the middle of the cubicle which allowed a clear view of the audition. At this moment, a man was sitting on the black leather sofa opposite the camera. The man was wearing a pair of gold-framed glasses and a retro black suit. He was flipping through an entertainment magazine. Even with such a casual posture, he still exuded a powerful aura, causing others to be intimidated and not dare to look at him directly. Pei Nanshu held a cup of coffee in his hands as he strode over to the man and smiled. Brother, why are you suddenly free to visit me today? The man took the coffee from him. Why can't I come? Pei Nanshu chuckled softly. Of course I'm happy that you're here. However, Director Jiang and Feng Anhua were frightened out of their wits. No one had expected Pei Yuqing to visit the production crew. Feng Anhua was so frightened that his legs turned to jelly. He had been asking Pei Nanshu what was going on. To be honest, Pei Nanshu was surprised too. Although JM Corporation had invested in this movie, Pei Yuqing couldn't possibly ask about such a trivial matter. Dong dong dong, there was a cautious knock on the door. Pei Nanshu replied, Come in. Producer Feng Anhua and director Jiang Yiming walked in. As soon as they saw the man on the opposite sofa, the two of them immediately shivered subconsciously. He never thought that the big boss would come in person. Both of them were well-known producers and directors in the entertainment industry. They had met countless celebrities and dealt with many high-ranking investors. However, no one had ever been as oppressive as Pei Yuqing. Feng Anhua rubbed his hands together, beaming. I didn't expect Boss Pei to personally come and pick the actors. It's an honor, an honor. Jiang Yiming said, Boss Pei, I've always placed a lot of emphasis on acting skills. There won't be any other factors that will interfere with our casting. You can rest assured about the quality of the show. Feng Anhua hurriedly chimed in, This cubicle is very quiet. No one will disturb you. You can watch the audition outside at any time. If you have any comments or suggestions, please let me know. I will do my best to fulfill your requests. The man leaned against the sofa and took a sip of his coffee. He didn't seem to care at all as he replied casually, Don't be nervous. Do whatever you want. Feng Anhua and Jiang Yiming exchanged a glance. Pei Yuqing didn't seem to be there to watch the audition at all. If he wasn't there to watch the audition, why would a rare celebrity like him come to their production crew? However, Pei Nanshu was the male lead of this movie. Perhaps he was just there to show his concern for his brother. Chapter 22. Jiang Yiming and Feng Anhua heaved a sigh of relief when they stepped out of the cubicle. Even though Pei Yuqing was merely sitting quietly on the couch with his eyes closed, the formless pressure he exuded made it hard for them to breathe. Jiang Yiming and Feng Anhua felt extremely uncomfortable because of Pei Yuqing's arrival. They couldn't help but wonder what was going on. "Old Jiang, why do you think President Pei is here today?" Feng Anhua whispered to Jiang Yiming carefully. Jiang Yiming shook his head in confusion. "How would I know? Logically speaking, someone like Pei Yuqing wouldn't be interested in their production team. Pei Yuqing had too many businesses under him and the entertainment industry was just one of them. He had at least a dozen top film companies in the country. Pei Yuqing wouldn't even be interested in one of the world's top productions, let alone a movie like theirs. Pei Nanshu was the male lead of this movie. However, Pei Nanshu had been in the industry for so many years and had acted in so many movies. There were so many movies that were even bigger than this movie. Why did he pay attention to their movie and even attend it personally? Hence the question was, what was Pei Yuqing doing there? "Old Jiang, could President Pei be?" Feng Anhua frowned slightly. "Stop beating around the bush. Just spit it out," Jiang Yiming interjected. Feng Anhua replied, "I can only guess one reason why President Pei is here today." Jiang Yiming asked, "What is it?" Feng Anhua replied, "If a man suddenly behaves strangely, it's most likely because of a woman. We are auditioning for the fourth female lead. Do you think President Pei is here because of this fourth female lead? Are you saying that President Pei has taken a fancy to an actress who is auditioning today? Is that why he is here?" Jiang Yiming was startled. "What else? Do you think there are other possibilities?" Feng Anhua smiled. Jiang Yiming was stumped. As far as he knew, there was only one actress who had used her connections to attend the audition today. Her name was Qin Shanshan. As for Qin Shanshan's connections, Jiang Yiming did not know. However, the higher-ups had called them and said that they had arranged for Qin Shanshan to audition today. They had asked them to take care of her and give her some face. Could it be that Qin Shanshan? Jiang Yiming pondered. Feng Anhua smiled slightly and said, "I've seen that female artist's resume. She's just a student from Beijing's Film Academy. She doesn't have any works to speak of. How could she have such a huge reputation? She might have something to do with Boss Pei. I think she might have an unusual relationship with Boss Pei. Look, Boss Pei is here today. That can't be. I've never heard of Boss Pei having a woman by his side all these years. What's more, with Boss Pei's status and identity, why would he spend so much effort on a small artiste?" Jiang Yiming said in surprise. "Old Jiang, even Boss Pei is still a man." Feng Anhua smiled. "What should we do?" Jiang Yiming was in a dilemma. "What else can we do? Let's follow the procedure. We'll just have to choose Qin Shanshan when the time comes. No matter how big your principles are, they can't be more important than Boss Pei's reputation. Remember, you have to give Qin Shanshan enough face," Feng Anhua said. Chapter 23. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. "Mom, you should have thrown her out a long time ago. Do you need the rent?" Qin Shanshan replied coldly. "Guys, this person isn't from a professional school. She hasn't even gone to college. She can't even act as a minor character. Isn't it a waste of time? I think we should just let her go." Wang Qiaohui suddenly turned to Feng Anhua. Feng Anhua was caught in a dilemma. No matter what, he had to go through with the procedure. How could he let someone leave without even trying? That was unreasonable. How shameless. She can't even act as a minor character, yet she is here for an audition? A female actress in a red gown sneered coldly. He had been wondering how to befriend Qin Shanshan, and now she had come knocking on his door. Yeah. How can this person be like this? She is staying at Miss Qin's house and wants to compete with her for the role. Besides, do you have the ability? Look at her. Does she look like a domineering female president at the audition? She looks more like a waitress. What are you arguing about? What kind of place do you think this is? Jiang Yiming stood up abruptly and bellowed. Without giving anyone a chance to speak, Jiang Yiming turned to Lin Yan. Contestant 33, start the audition. Chapter 26. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 29. Everyone was taken aback by Lin Yan's words. Then they burst into laughter. Miss Lin, did you get too into character? Does she really think that she's a domineering president? It's really funny. I've never seen someone get so into character before. Has she gone crazy? The actresses giggled. President Zhou suppressed his laughter as he stared at Lin Yan as though she was a fool. Are you having a fever? Or is there something wrong with your brain? Do you want to go to the hospital? Lin Yan didn't reply. Instead, she whipped out her phone and tapped on it nonchalantly. I'm talking to you. Are you deaf? Or do you want me to invite you out? President Zhou bellowed angrily when he saw that Lin Yan was still playing with her phone. Answer the phone. Lin Yan glanced up at President Zhou. What? President Zhou sneered coldly. He was about to say something when his phone rang. President Zhou's expression changed when he saw the caller ID. President Gao, speak. It was unknown what was said on the other end of the line, but Xiao Zhou's pupils shrank. What? I've been fired. You want me to pack my things and leave the company now? Why? President Gao? President Gao? President Zhou stood rooted to the ground in a daze. President Zhou wasn't the only one. Everyone else was dumbfounded as well. President Zhou had been fired? Wang Qiaohui and Qin Shanshan's smug expressions froze on their faces. They looked comical. You. President Zhou's face and neck were red as he stared at Lin Yan in disbelief. What was going on? This woman had just said that he would be removed from the list, and in the next second he was actually fired. This was too strange. No, he had to figure out what was going on. President Zhou was flustered and exasperated. He slammed the door and left. Jiang Yiming and Feng Anhua were dumbfounded as well. What was going on? Lin Yan had hit the nail on the head. This was too much of a coincidence. More importantly, why had President Zhou been fired all of a sudden? Feng Anhua swallowed his saliva. We're doomed, old Jiang. We were wrong. Qin Shanshan isn't related to President Pei at all. Of course, Jiang Yiming reacted at that moment. If it was because of Boss Pei, how could Boss Zhou have been fired? They might have misunderstood and caused Boss Pei to be so angry that he would personally deal with Boss Zhou. As the two of them spoke, a man who looked like an assistant walked out from the cubicle. He leaned over and whispered in their ears. Second young master asked me to inform the two of you that he and Boss Pei have urgent matters to attend to and have to leave first. Feng Anhua, Jiang Yiming, it's over. Boss Pei had really left in anger. They had originally wanted to curry favor with Boss Pei. Who knew that they would end up sucking up to Boss Pei? They knew it. How could Boss Pei be the kind of person who would be biased for a woman? Boss Pei was just here to do his job. However, they had used their dirty thoughts to speculate about Boss Pei. Damn it, it's more important to make up for it. Feng Anhua glanced at Lin Yan. Miss Lin, your performance was amazing. Director Jiang and I were impressed. Congratulations. The role belongs to you. Jiang Yiming also said, Miss Lin, go back and get ready. Wait for the notice from the crew. Chapter 30. Jiang Yiming's emotions were a little complicated. He had assumed that Qin Shanshan was related to Pei Yuqing, but it turned out to be a mistake. Fortunately, it had been a mistake. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to continue using Lin Yan. Lin Yan was the perfect actress in his eyes. If he had missed out on her, he would have regretted it forever. What the hell are you doing? Wang Qiaohui's shrill voice rang out. How could she be chosen? Are you out of your minds? Qin Shanshan frowned deeply. She didn't know what had happened either. If she wasn't wrong, Director Zhou should have been hired by Sister Shia. However, something seemed to have happened to Director Zhou at this critical juncture. Feng Anhua pointed at Wang Qiaohui and bellowed, I think the two of you have had enough. The audition results are out. Please leave. Wang Qiaohui was taken aback. Why had the producer, who had been so respectful to them, suddenly spoken to them in such a manner? Do you know who you are talking to? Do you believe that I will call Xia right now? Wang Qiaohui hissed coldly. Xia. Jiang Yiming and Feng Anhua exchanged a startled glance. Lin Xia from Triumph Entertainment? In the end, it turned out that Lin Xia was the mother and daughter's backer. No wonder President Zhou had come. Based on what they knew, Lin Xia and President Zhou had a good relationship. They had interacted frequently in private. He had really made a big mistake. In the end, Feng Anhua asked the staff to bring the mother and daughter out. Miss Lin, we are sorry that we have caused you unnecessary trouble. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. Lin Yan replied, I need an advance payment. Feng Anhua replied readily, that's not a problem. I will get someone to arrange it later. The girl nodded and turned to leave. After leaving the audition hall, the girl strolled to an empty corridor. No one noticed that at this moment, the girl's sharp gaze suddenly became slack, and then it turned into shock and disbelief. However, this kind of gaze only lasted for a moment, and it quickly returned to its indifference, as if there were two people living in one body. What the hell was going on? Lin Yan hadn't lost her memory this time. She had clearly seen everything that had just happened, but she had not done it herself. She was conscious, but her body was out of control. It felt as if her body was being controlled by someone else. Even now, she still couldn't control her body. Damn it! What the hell was going on? A terrifying thought popped into her mind. Had she really been possessed by a ghost? Or was it because of her previous injury that not only did she break her leg but her brain as well? You don't have to worry about such pointless things. Lin Yan was speechless. She heard her body speak. There was no one here. Was the ghost talking to her? A ghost actually knew how to comfort her. Then she heard her body say nonchalantly, perhaps you don't have such a thing. Faster see. How dare he mock her for being brainless? If Lin Yan could control her body, her face would be as black as the bottom of a pot. What the hell are you? Why can you control my body? He didn't forget the person who dug the well when he was drinking water. You used my body and you're calling me brainless? Chapter 31. Lin Yan waited for a long time before she heard a soft chuckle. Then the other party ignored her. Lin Yan could only watch as her body walked out of the building and got into a taxi. The feeling of watching her body go out of control with a clear mind almost scared her out of her wits. Hold on. Hey, where are you going? What do you want to do with my body? What exactly are you? Lin Yan was helpless. No matter how anxious she was, she couldn't do anything. She felt as though she was trapped in a glass cage. She could hear, see, and know everything that was happening outside, but she couldn't do anything. A few moments later, Lin Yan realized that she had stopped outside a private hospital. She strode in with familiarity. Why had this fellow controlled her body to come to the hospital? Was he here to see a doctor? There was nothing Lin Yan could do now. She could only wait and see. The elevator rose slowly and reached the VIP ward on the top floor. The entire top floor was silent. The girl walked to a ward at the end of the corridor. A young man in a suit and leather shoes was standing guard outside the ward. The assistant nodded slightly when he saw the girl. He stepped aside and pushed the door open for her. Lin Yan pushed the door open and saw the man lying on the bed. Lin Yan was dumbfounded when she saw the man on the bed. The man lying on the bed was Pei Yuqing. Lin Yan was still in shock when she saw herself sitting on the chair beside Pei Yuqing's bed. Lin Yan was struck by a sudden realization. Faster see. I finally know. You're the pervert who slept with Pei Yuqing. What are you trying to do? I advise you not to do anything rash. This is my F***king body. Hey, say something. Did you hear me? I'm telling you what you're doing is illegal. Lin Yan stared at Pei Yuqing in a panic, hoping that he would wake up and escape from her clutches. However, Pei Yuqing seemed to be in a deep sleep and his face was slightly pale. The mottled sunlight shone through the gaps between the leaves and onto the man's godlike handsome face. Perhaps it was because he had fallen asleep, but he didn't exude the suffocating aura that he usually exuded. He didn't exude any dangerous aura either. He just lay there quietly as though he was a sleeping beauty who had been asleep for thousands of years. Lin Yan was momentarily dazed by his beauty. While Lin Yan was still in a daze, something terrifying happened. Her hand moved by itself. Her hand was reaching inside. As she watched her sinful claws approach Pei Yuqing's collar, Lin Yan's soul shrieked. Stop. What are you doing? The girl caressed the man's collar with her fair fingers. Isn't this what you want to do? Lin Yan bellowed, nonsense. I don't want to. When did she ever want to do such a thing? Think about it. Your subconscious doesn't lie, the girl said with certainty. Lin Yan was on the verge of breaking down. Shut up. Are you the devil? How can you read my subconscious? Was her subconscious really that rebellious? That was impossible. Pei Yuqing would probably send her to jail. Damn it. How infuriating. What kind of pervert was he? He had to bear the consequences of his own actions. If he had the ability, he would have to bear the consequences himself. What did he have to do with her coveting Pei Yuqing's beauty? At this time he had already disappeared without a trace. What was she supposed to do? Chapter 33. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 34. At the same time Lin Yan studied the young man curiously. Pei Nanshu wasn't Pei Yuqing's only younger brother. No wonder this young man resembled Pei Yuqing. They were both good-looking, but their auras were completely different. Pei Yutong glared at Lin Yan coldly before he told Pei Yuqing excitedly, "Brother, this woman is my future sister-in-law? Brother, you must be joking. Do you know her background? She is a nobody who only knows how to stir up scandals. In order to become famous, she even created a rumor that she was the girlfriend of a famous hunk. After he refuted the rumor, she refused to let it go. In the end, she was banned from the entertainment industry." Lin Yan rubbed her nose when she heard that her past had been exposed. She had no intention of explaining herself. She did try to explain it to everyone, but later on she understood that no one would believe her words except herself. Lin Yan felt that she was really pitiful. She had been about to coax Pei Yuqing, but someone had appeared out of nowhere. Would Pei Yuqing still believe her when she had exposed her dark history? "Woman, you're quite bold. How dare you covet my brother?" Pei Yutong glared at Lin Yan and threatened Pei Yuqing. "Brother, if you let this woman be my sister-in-law, I will never go home again." Pei Yutong glared fiercely at Lin Yan before he threatened Pei Yuqing. The atmosphere turned chilly when Pei Yutong spoke. Lin Yan, who was sandwiched between the two brothers, felt extremely awkward. She was contemplating whether she should try to mediate the situation when Pei Yuqing replied casually, "That's great." Lin Yan was speechless. Pei Yutong was speechless. Pei Yutong was dumbfounded as though he had suffered a huge blow. He glared at Lin Yan as though she was a vixen. "Brother, this woman is obviously a scheming woman. How could you chase me out of the house because of her?" Pei Yuqing replied, "Haven't you been chased out of the house?" Pei Yutong was speechless. Lin Yan was speechless. Why did she suddenly feel that her brother was pitiful? Pei Yutong turned to Lin Yan again. "What did you do to my brother?" Lin Yan sighed helplessly. "You seem to have misunderstood something. I have nothing to do with your brother. You can treat me as a passerby. Yes, it wasn't a big deal. He just slept with her for a night and he was just a pervert who came to her ward with bad intentions. That was all." Lin Yan felt an inexplicable twinge in her conscience. It was obvious that Pei Yutong didn't believe her. "I don't believe you. But don't mess around." Pei Nanshu strode in just as Lin Yan was in a dilemma. Lin Yan felt a gust of spring breeze, and her eyes lit up uncontrollably. Pei Yutong exploded the moment he saw Pei Nanshu. "Second brother, are you not going to do anything? Are you going to watch Big Brother go astray? Brother didn't let me go home because of this woman." Pei Nanshu looked helpless. "Didn't you want to run away from home?" Chapter 35. Currently typing. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 36. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, Please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 37. Have you for the rest of my life, sweet and warm. Currently typing. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 38. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 39. With you for the rest of my life, sweet and warm, please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 40. With you for the rest of my life, sweet and warm, please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 41. Currently in the middle of typing, please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 42. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 43. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 44. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 45. Currently typing. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 46. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 47. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. Chapter 48. Having you for the rest of my life, sweet and warm. Chapter 48. No leeway. Currently typing. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.